It is Monday, December 23rd, 2024. This is another off-season edition of Baseball Today. That is my man, Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose, producer Dan along for the ride as well. Hope you and your family are happy and healthy as we jumpstart this holiday week, my friend.
Everyone's doing great, Chris. I really appreciate that. Got my father-in-law staying with us right now. We're seeing everybody. I'm one of those families that has I got to go to 4 different places, which seems like a pain in the butt, but I enjoy it. I love being
Yeah,
around family.
good. Yeah, no, it's an important thing this time of year. Um, the baseball world, unfortunately, we got to start with this, was shocked this weekend. Really just devastated with the passing of the all-time steals leader, the Hall of Famer Rickey Henderson, passed away a few days shy of his 66th birthday. I mean, I'm sure you were a lot like me and a lot of our viewers out there and our followers where we were scouring social media and there were these reports that Rickey Henderson has passed away and he wasn't sick. He passed away of pneumonia. There wasn't a long-term illness is what I should say. And I was like, this can't be right. There were at the beginning, there wasn't any credible news source, if you will, reporting it. And then once the news came down, I think shock is just the word, man.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's sad because everyone loved Ricky. I think
Yeah.
that's kind of the bottom line. We are talking about a little bit on Talking Baseball. He kind of transcends eras. He transcends sports. He's Ricky. Like, he's Rickey Henderson. Like, you just know him, and if you haven't visited his Baseball Reference page in a while, go check it out.
Mhm.
25 years, 111 WAR, over 13,000 plate appearances. Still ended up with an on base percentage over 400. Like, this guy he's awesome. I got to be his locker mate in Oakland. He was nice to me. Didn't have to be. So not only did I already was a fan of Rickey Henderson, as any
Mhm.
baseball guy is, but to be able to just chop it up with him a little bit, and again, like, he had no reason to befriend me and talk to me, and he did. And man, I was very sad to learn about this.
Did he know your name?
I mean, I had a nameplate, so I think
Yeah,
that
but that
helped him
doesn't mean
out.
anything. I mean, he didn't
Yeah,
know
but I mean, like,
anybody's
did he
name.
know my name? Like, if we saw each other on the street? I mean, for a brief moment of time, yes.
For a
Yeah.
brief moment of time.
Yeah.
Um, I got to see his entire career. 25 years, and I got to see his entire career. I remember him when he was a rookie, and I remember him when he played his last game, and I wish I could describe how he changed the game. How he changed the game just with not only with the flair, but the stolen base was so cool back in the day. I think it's been a tad bit watered down because of the rules. I do like that it's back in the game, but he would draw a walk to lead off the game, and it was a triple, and you
Yeah.
knew it, and he knew it, and the pitcher and the catcher knew it, and the other manager knew it, and everybody knew it, and there was nothing you could do to stop it, and it was just awesome to watch because he ran with such flair and such power too. Like, people don't realize when I talk to baseball players, and you lived it, when you slide head first for a living, that is a pounding you are putting on your body. And the fact that this guy was able to do it for 25 freaking years is incredible.
I mean, look at the picture we have up. Those are some trunks right there,
Yeah,
people.
it's no joke.
Sheesh.
Um, I want to tell you this. So in old Cleveland Stadium, we didn't get great crowds in the 80s when I was growing up with the Indians. So you could have conversations with the left fielder. And Ricky was back in Oakland. He had been traded from Oakland to New York and then back to Oakland. And he was in kind of a contract dispute. And it was well known at that time. He was still handsomely paid, but he wanted more money. So some fan in the left field seats started a Ricky fund jar and was passing it around to all the fans, and people are throwing a dollar bill or a nickel or whatever it is, and we're shaking it every inning. And Ricky is coming over and talking to us, and he keeps going, "How much is in the Ricky fund jar? How much is it?" And they'd shake it and he was great about it. He couldn't have been more fun and living it up. And I just think we've heard stories all weekend long about how much he loved the sport and everything about it. And yeah, was he arrogant and was he egotistical? Absolutely. And did he talk in the third person? Yes, but that's what made Ricky Ricky. And it sucks that we've lost him this early. God dang it, man.
Yeah, 66, if I'm doing the math correctly. That's
66, he would have been on Christmas Day.
Christmas
rough.
Day baby, huh?
Yeah. Feel for him, man. Feel for his family. And I feel for our sport. We've lost too many really, really good Hall of Famers. And to lose one this young, that's that big in the game and that big personality. Read as much as you can. Watch YouTube videos. Watch the MLB Network special on him. Just do it.
He's like favorite player type.
Yeah. Oh, easy. Easy. And the fact he grew up in Oakland and then there, at least he doesn't have to watch the A's go to Sacramento.
That's a good point.
Let's get to it. Over the last several hours before this show, boy, did we have to rewrite the show and the rundown because it was move after move after move. So let's get it going. We're going to be quick paced today with this. Walker Buehler, 1 year, $21 million deal to go to the Boston Red Sox. Okay. Let's remember earlier this offseason, they traded for Garrett Crochet. Where does Boston now sit in the American League pecking order overall?
Overall, okay, this is an interesting question here because I've said this all throughout the offseason. I think the AL is wide open.
Mm-hmm.
So if I think the Yankees are one of the best teams in the American League, and I broke this down already a little bit in my head. Where do they rank in the AL East? I think they're still – I would still say I would put them right behind the Yankees, but I do think I would put them above Baltimore right now.
Wow.
Yeah, I do. I like the moves that they have made, Chris, and I still think if they wanted to, they could go out and do more.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Overall in the American League, where would I put them? They went out and got a bona fide ace in Garrett Crochet. Walker Buehler has the potential to be an ace. We'll just put him in the 3 spot, if you will. Aroldis Chapman. Maybe they tap in and get the good version of him. Liam Hendricks has actually improved the bullpen, which was an Achilles heel for them last year. I'm going to put them 4th in the American League, I think. And that could be a little light. I could even see them being 3rd in the American League.
So who do you have ahead of them other than New York? Do you still have Houston? We'll talk about them in a bit.
I think I've taught myself into Houston being kind of like right where they want to be. So I would have them, similar levels to Houston, which I think to Boston fans is probably like really, that's music to their ears, if you will, after the last couple of years.
All right, so let's start with the rotation. Obviously, love the Crochet move. That's great. Tanner Houck was a beast last year. He was freaking phenomenal. Probably we didn't talk about him enough. Walker Buehler, for everything that he has been with Los Angeles, he has not had a good season since 2021. He was a negative WAR player. He admitted last year he went on like a Florida sabbatical to try and rediscover himself, and it worked in the playoffs because he threw 15 innings. He gave up runs in 1 of those innings. It was that 6-inning disaster or 6-run disaster in San Diego that really wasn't his fault because of the defensive miscues. He looked great. He looked great in the postseason. If that's what you're getting, Boston, this 1 year, $21 million deal, that is a bargain. I'm rooting for him because I love him. I think he's got big balls. I think he's a good dude. Bayo, we're still we don't know what he is. Giolito.
He's a 4.
Yeah, fine.
With potential to be a little higher.
Giolito, we'll see what they're going to get out of him. Crawford, he's around. Patrick Sandoval, they signed to a 2-year deal. We know he's coming off of arm surgery, but he could help them out in the back half of the year. Dick Fitz, I know guys, fans up there in Boston, not just because of his name, but okay. Like they've got some depth that they're dealing with here. I don't know if it's enough to make a move right now. I wouldn't do that because there's too many guys with questionable injury history in that rotation and productivity questions. So I wouldn't do that. But I like where Boston is. I want to see them add a right-handed bat. I want to see them add a right-handed bat. They need it in this lineup. And then all of a sudden, Boston's back on the map, and we're talking about a team that I don't think they're as good as New York, but I think that they are a strong, strong wild card team.
Answer your own question.
I would have them pretty high. I don't think I'm going to put them past Baltimore yet. I still think Baltimore is
okay. I think I'm just mad at Baltimore a little bit for not.
I am too. I'm furious.
The trigger on a few things. Like that's maybe I am a little bit. My mind isn't working correctly because I have them in that light. But I don't think Boston. Even if I was like, okay, forget all that. Here's the rosters. I don't think Boston is that far behind them.
Right. There's two teams I don't know if I can put Boston ahead of outside of the AL East, and that's Texas, whom we'll discuss in a minute, and Houston, because I just don't think there's quit in those guys.
There's not. Go look at the lineup again, especially if they add some people. We'll get into it.
Right, but we can only deal with the here and now. We can't say if they
Yes.
add this and if they add
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah, yeah.
where are they right now, present day value.
So where'd you have them? Yankees 1, Orioles 2, Red Sox 3? You're going all AL East?
No. I think Texas. I think I like Texas. I really like what they've done.
I'm going Yankees, I'm going Houston, and I'm going like 3A, 3B, Boston, and the Orioles.
I'm not out on Houston, but I think, man, to lose Tucker and possibly most likely Bregman in one offseason, that is a lot. That is a lot. And I know that Kyle Tucker only played half the year last year, but man, that is a kick in the onions. New York Mets. Welcome back, Sean Manaea. 3 years, $75 million. $23 million of that is going to be deferred over the next decade. So the Mets are getting in the deferral game. It's not just the Dodgers that can play that one. The big question I've got is, after spending $765 million on Juan Soto, is this rotation really enough to get it done?
Okay. I don't think they should be done filling out their rotation. I think they should try to go fill. I really, if Walker Buehler was in it, which I thought they were going to go get him, and they got Walker Buehler and Sean Manaea, I'd be really happy. But here's what I do know about the Mets. We talked about David Stearns going over there, who he brought with him. David Stearns and his guys have been able to develop pitching. They did it last year. At the beginning of the year, talking about the guys they brought over, we weren't too excited about them, but Severi had a great year. Quintana was very serviceable, and then you know what Manaea turned into at the end of the year. So I love bringing Manaea back. I think it's one of the most no-brainers of the offseason was bringing a guy that wants to be there, that's had success, that you really – I think you could just count on him to be a middle-of-the-rotation guy that's going to throw you 150 to 180 innings every single year of this contract. I think it's great. I think they're going to get that money back and then some. So, like, Montas, he's got arm ability. Clay Holmes has got arm ability. Like, if they are who they think they are, and they can develop and find these diamonds in the rough the way that we've seen the Brewers do it, and we saw them do it last year, it could be enough. It could be enough. We get Senga back for a full year. Like, there's decent depth there. So do I want them to be done? Do I want Stephen Cohen to just close the wallet? Or no, I want them to go get Bregman or Pete Alonso and maybe still add a pitcher to this rotation.
The rotation,
it can be enough. It can be enough.
Is it better than Phillies?
No.
Is it better than Dodgers?
No, Dodgers have like a zillion. I don't think that matters, though.
Wait. Why does it not matter?
How are you going to get a rotation better than Phillies?
You're not.
Yeah, so they're not trying to do that.
Is it close to Phillies?
No.
Is it close to the Dodgers?
No.
Is it close to Atlanta?
Yes. I gotta see how Strider looks. No, I don't think that's the end goal, to have the best rotation. I think they want to have depth in the rotation, and they understand that when it comes down to it, they're going to need 3 or 4 guys there in the playoffs. We're talking about teams, the Phillies, who have had like all the quality starts, everybody staying healthy, like all these things. Like, they're an outlier.
Well, I think
the Dodgers spending the way they spent, that's an outlier, and bringing all those guys in. So I don't think the Mets are trying to really do that.
I think there's a lot of questions. And if I were a Mets fan, I don't know how comfortable I would be. We're paying $51 million a year for Juan Soto, plus whatever it ends up being here. Kodai Senga threw 1 game in the regular season. 1 game. Mm-hmm. Frankie Montas was poop soup last year, and we're paying him $17 million. Clay Holmes might be interesting as a starter. Could pull a Jordan Hicks out there in San Francisco, who the first half of the year was really, really interesting. Might do okay. Peterson, I thought, was great last year. He was awesome. He was great. And Manaea was fantastic. So I'll take those 2. McGill, somewhere in the mix. They say they want to go to a 6-man rotation. Just don't I need a dog up there that's going to give me the ball and let's go get it. Give me that. Give me that. Because Philly's got it. Atlanta's got it. The Dodgers have dudes that do that. Who's that dog in the Mets rotation where when it's down to that last to that elimination game and it's lined up perfectly for you? Who is that right now?
It could be Sean Manaea, dude. I don't know if you remember the way he threw at the end of last year, even in the playoffs. He had this last game against the Dodgers wasn't good, but before that, he was really, really good. He did it once against the Dodgers and then didn't do it the second time. He could be that guy, Chris.
So for a team that's got this sizable payroll, is good enough for you?
It's not only about the starting pitching staff. That's not.
I know, but at the end of the
we're going to talk about
day,
the Texas Rangers, who won the World Series in 2023 by freaking hitting homers and doing that. Clay Holmes, I'm very interested in this, and I know we're not supposed to really talk about him too much on this episode, but a guy that can put the ball on the ground, like they got some guys that can field the ball down there.
I get it,
Up there
but
in New
you
York.
can't go into this year saying you know exactly what Clay Holmes is going to give you in the starting rotation unless you got in the DeLorean and went forward 6 months and you've already seen it.
I think that they are banking on, or they're saying to themselves, we felt the same way at the beginning of last year.
Yeah, and the first 2 months stunk.
And then things worked out.
It did. But I don't know. I don't think you want to go down that road when you're paying what you're paying.
So we did this. Okay. So there's a guy, again, I don't do prospects. Their top prospect is a pitcher.
Okay.
So there's more depth there. I think they're playing the depth game.
Okay.
Who else can they go get?
They're not going to go get Corbin Burns, I
No.
guess. Right?
Flaherty?
Yeah, I mean, none of the moves that are left outside of Corbin Burns are going to change our opinion on them. It'll add to their depth. It'll make them more bona fide. And I really believe you have to go into camp with 8 starters that you feel like you can rely on. You have to
get somebody from the Marlins. Like they have, where's all that pitching?
Marlins
just gave one to the Phillies.
Go trade for Sandy. Ooh, who's going to do that? That's a question. Somebody's going to pull that trigger. I'm telling you. And I'll wrap it up with this. I'm happy for Sean Manaea. I am happy that he has changed the delivery, the bullpen warm-up, and all of this. He opted out of $14 million and ended up getting $75. That's pretty good accounting.
Rich, man. Was he from Indiana or something like that?
Yeah, he's from Indiana.
What are you going to do with all that money out there?
Well, I don't know where
that's
he
worth
lives.
Like 5 times the amount.
He could actually buy the state, I believe, now.
He might be able to. Going from New York and then back to Indiana, he must be in am I in a different world?
Oh, yeah.
Like grocery prices,
Have you spent any time in Indiana?
No.
Have you even played a minor league game there?
No offense to Indiana. Yeah.
Okay.
Is Indianapolis in Indiana?
Yes, it would be the state capital.
Okay, then I've been there.
Remember, my youngest son goes to school in that state. Did you know that?
Yeah, I did. I once punched a dryer, like an automatic dryer, or excuse me, a hand towel thing in the bathroom. I punched it off a wall at a TGI Fridays in Indianapolis.
Was alcohol involved?
It's the only time that I think I've abused alcohol. I was sad that I didn't get called up. I went and I said, I'm gonna go have some drinks. Don't do that, people. I do not recommend that. It's one of the low points of my career.
Right hand or left hand?
Right hand. Just knocked the thing right off the wall. Yeah.
God, seriously, the thing got knocked off the wall?
Yeah, I don't think it was on there that good, to be honest with you. So.
Did you break your hand?
No.
Wow. Yeah. You are so tough.
I was pissed.
Can I just tell you that
buying drinks for everyone at the bar, it was not a good look for me. It was a bad look. If
I punched that thing, I would have broken every bone in my hand and it would have curled up like a fetus in the corner and been crying like a pussy. I just would have. That's me. I'm just telling you. You got to know who you are. All right. Reason I'm wearing a Texas Rangers hat. The 2023 World Series champs were busy Sunday. They traded Nathaniel Lowe to Washington for reliever Robert Garcia. Then Monday morning, we wake up. Jock Peterson's a Texas Ranger, reportedly. Russell Dorsey, I think, was the first one on this. 2 years, 37. I thought he was.
I think it is. I saw his name being mentioned, yeah.
Good for Russ, man. 2 years, 37 mil with an opt-out after the first. Let me ask you this. Are the Rangers the best lineup in the American League?
No. But
No.
they're close. I
They're
don't think so.
interesting, though, aren't they?
Yeah, well, because go back to 2023. Yes. I mean, they have a lot of those same guys. They
Right.
bring in Peterson, they bring in Jake Berger, but a lot of those guys, Mitch Garver's out. Obviously, Nathaniel Lowe's out. But a lot of those guys that did damage are still there and are still very, very good baseball players. Last year was just, we talked about it all the time. It was a horrible year for them in all regards. You can't even really chalk it up to a World Series hangover, but a lot of people will. They're still happy they got the title in 2023. Bad year. They have the ability to be like the comeback team of the year in the American League. Like I don't think there's any question about that. DeGrom's gonna do his thing. Now they make these moves. I would put them. Gosh, man. Like the American League is just such a crazy place right now. I think I'm still going to do like a bunch of American League East teams ahead of them. I don't think I'm ready to put the Astros lineup ahead of them. If they go out and make another move, they go out and sign Anthony Santander, then I would consider it. So maybe I put them 3 in the American League right now.
So we didn't pay attention to them. Like, I think after they got their rings, we're like, did we even talk about the Texas Rangers?
They gave us
year?
no reason.
I know.
Chris.
They were horrible. And so I just have to remind a few people of what has gone on, because if you look at their lineup roughly, Simeon Seager, Langford, Adolis, Jock, Josh Young, Berger, some sort of combo of Heim and Higgy.
I forgot about Higgy. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah. Carter, Tavares. That doesn't even include Josh Smith, who won a Silver Slugger as a utility player last year.
You say Langford, who had a really nice September. I think he had 8 homers in September last year.
Yes. Now, Jock was great last year. He had almost a 3 WAR strictly as a DH. That's pretty damn impressive. Over a 900 OPS, he just mashes against right-handed pitching. But here's some other things you may not have known. Josh Young, less than 200 at-bats. He was banged up. He's had some weird injuries in his first few years. Let's start sending some good mojo his way. Evan Carter had less than 150 at-bats. He was my pick for AL Rookie of the Year. I put the whammy on him early. I gave him the Alek Manoah treatment. Marcus Semien had a horrible year. 699 OPS. I tried to see if maybe he had heated up in the second half. No, nothing. Adolis, sub 700 OPS. Jonah Heim, 600 OPS. These guys did not have good years at all. So I am not going to say that they're the best lineup in the American League. They're interesting. They're really fascinating.
They have the ability. You go back to 2023, they led the American League in runs, in homers. I believe they were first in OPS plus. And again, a lot of those guys are still there. Now, yeah, you have to have bounce back years for everyone. So the ability is there, but I agree with you. I'm not ready just to anoint them, especially after Nathaniel Lowe is a great player. Berger and Jock are going to do their things against their side pitching, obviously, but I mean, do you have a spot where you like them? We keep disregarding the AL Central completely, basically, even though they had 3 teams in the playoffs last year. I know people say, "Oh, they played the White Sox," whatever. Are any of those teams lineup wise they don't compete, right?
We saw them in the playoffs.
Yeah,
they had
all of those lineups are out. Angels are not in. The A's are not in.
Seattle stinks.
Seattle's not going to be there. So
Tampa.
You're looking at Tampa. Who knows?
No,
in 2023 they were one of the best American League offenses as well. So if
they're
we're saying
not
this
now.
about yeah, I don't think so either. So it's really Yankees, Orioles, Red Sox,
Houston,
Texas.
Right.
Those are the 5 teams you would say have the best offenses.
Absolutely. Doesn't mean best teams, although I do think the Rangers are, they're going to be primed for a little run here.
Interesting.
I think getting Eovaldi back was huge for them, and I'm so excited to see Jake DeGrom. I'm trying to temper my enthusiasm.
I'm putting the Rangers, as of right now, my 4th best offense in the American League. I'm going to go Yankees, Red Sox were really freaking good last year, people. I might go. This is where it gets tough because you want Houston, you want the Orioles. Maybe they're fifth.
Hmm. Red Sox, though, did lose a guy who hit 30 homers. And it's not nothing.
Yeah, but they have guys coming up. They have guys that are going to be
Okay.
playing a full year for them
Maybe
this year. Maybe.
Costas you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. The Rays
Wow.
just signed Eloy Jimenez.
That's a
You brought
very
All
Rays
right, hold
player
on.
right there.
Do we give Dan credit for breaking into our ears to tell us that? Or do we go,
I like it.
Eloy Jimenez?
I like Eloy Jimenez. He fits the Rays mantra, baby.
Does he?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We got a lot of first basemen to cover. It is incredible. Like, it feels like half of the league is going to have brand new first basemen this year. So let's start with the big move for the Houston Astros. They bring in Christian Walker. 3 years, 60 mil. So if you add it up, they've traded Tucker. We don't think Bregman's coming back. They bring in Walker and Paredes. Arenado's not coming. We know that. What do we think of the Astros if they're done making big moves for 2025?
I think they're still very competitive. The roster has really grown on me. They still have the starting pitching. They still have the back end of the bullpen. You still have, a top of the lineup that I like. You get a couple guys kind of like, look, the bottom line is you need guys to have good years. That's not like a secret. You need Pena to like step it up and have to get back to where he was his rookie year. You need Yanner Diaz to continue and hit some homers. Like you need guys to step up. So there's a world, Chris, where like, yeah, we see this lineup and they go. This is what I'm talking about. They add Santander, and now you're talking about Bregman and Tucker out, Paredes, Walker, Santander in. Like,
Yeah, but that's not it right now.
no, it's not it right now. I still think they're the team to beat in the AL West, even without Santander. I do.
So
I do, Chris.
what's their outfield look like right now?
It's going to be interesting. It's gonna
Because
be
they
interesting.
say they don't want Jordan in the outfield. They want him DHing. So Myers, McCormick.
Dubon.
I mean, come on. Is that
Yeah,
really,
I think they're going to continue. I do.
and that can't be what they're going to go with. And honestly saying, right? Jim Crane said, every year that I own the team, we might not be going for it the way some teams go for it, but we are not ever rebuilding, nothing like that. What do you think Jose Altuve is thinking right now?
We're going to win the AL West. That's what he's thinking.
Really? He
Yes.
looks around. Okay,
Yeah.
so he's happy with it.
We just talked about who in the AL West is like, oh yeah, they're going to win it.
It's just
not
Texas.
one dang team.
It's just
Yeah,
Texas
just
right now,
Texas.
and Seattle's going to sit on this great pitching and do poop. Man, we should have a whole Seattle.
I don't think they're
episode.
scared of Texas, dude.
They're probably not scared of them, but
yeah. So that's why would Jose Altuve be? Is he like biting his nails? Like, oh my gosh, like Texas?
no. But
is
I do
back?
think he's thinking this. Like,
hey, he probably said, go sign Santander.
He said at the end of the season to go. Alex Bregman means so much more to this team than you'd think he means. That's essentially what he said.
I agree. I understand that. He ain't
Hey,
coming
by the
back.
way, no hate for Christian Walker from me. I'm a big time late
gosh.
bloomer fan. Great glove over there. He's a 30 homer, 800 OPS guy, and in the, with the Crawford boxes, could be 35.
He's a stud.
That's a good pickup for them. I'm good with that. So, the Yankees were sniffing around Christian Walker, right? That deal doesn't get done. So they turn their attention quickly to Paul Goldschmidt, a Houston area native, 1 year, $12.5 million. In your opinion, does the Yankees lineup need more, or is it good enough to compete to win, not make, to win the World Series?
Oh, it's good enough to win the World Series. In a short series, anything can happen. If we're talking about league wide, we just talked about the AL and where they rank. I probably have them, up there at 1. I think you have me rethinking that right now, but I have them up there very high. Now in the league wide, I don't think they're that high. I think they're like 5.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So doesn't mean they can't win the World Series with this lineup. And I like the Goldschmidt move. I think that he started the year off poorly, and I'm not sure this had anything to do with it. I talked a little bit about this on Talking Baseball. He went the drive line, tried to up his bat speed. You know, as players do at the end of their careers, he went and tried something different. You know, wanted to make sure that he was doing everything in his possible to continue to be the player that he's been. You know, he had a little bit of decline in 2023, so he wanted to make sure that he was, you know, just crossing his T's and dotting his I's, if you will. And sometimes when you do drastic changes and do different drills, they don't take. So I think I would, and again, I haven't talked to him or heard anything about this, but you know, experiencing it myself, sometimes those things can turn into a missed half. And then the second half of last year, he was back to being a good to great hitter. I think this is gonna be a great deal for the Yankees. I think he's like figured out what he needs to do. I think he's gonna enjoy playing there, playing with those guys. He's a baseball rat. He's the epitome of health. Knock on wood.
Hmm?
The Yankees have not had that, so I love this signing. And then yeah, as far as is the lineup enough? Yeah, it's enough.
It's interesting. Outside of two guys, in my opinion, the projected lineup, Aaron Judge and Jazz Chisholm.
Okay.
I don't know what the rest is. Like Judge, we don't have to talk about. The reason I say Jazz is because I think I figured him out. He's got pop. He can run. He's going to be a mid 700s OPS guy. He will disappear at times, and against great pitching, he ain't that good. So that's what I think Jazz is as a player. I think he's a good, solid baseball player. The rest of the lineup has got a ton of question marks. And I think this is good. This could be great for the Yankees, and it could be miserable. Is Anthony Volpe a leadoff hitter? I don't know what the hell he is. Belly, is he 2023 or is he 2024? Because if he's 2024, that ain't $25 million a year for me. But if he's 2023, I'm in. Stanton, how many games are we going to get out of him? Austin Wells, Rookie of the Year candidate first half of the year. Is you sure we can't play Jose Trevino in the second half of the year? Dominguez, we've been waiting. You're getting your shot. What are you going to end up being? And as of now, Cabrera over third. Could change.
Now you got me just all.
But all I'm saying is that isn't that fair that all those questions surround everybody but Aaron Judge and, in my opinion, Jazz Chisholm? Like the rest of it, Goldie could end up being the second half Goldie. He could also end up being the stinky first half Goldie. He's 37, so you don't know.
There's a wide range of outcomes. You've convinced me of that now.
Right.
And maybe we've overlooked the Orioles because we're mad at them for not making moves.
Yes.
I think they have a pretty legit lineup as well.
Oh, yes. It's
I don't know, man. I don't know. I like the Goldie signing. I'm always like, you know, what's it called when I see things in a positive light? Rose tinted lenses.
Well, you're either glass half full or rose colored glasses.
I'm always a glass half full guy.
Yes, you are.
Especially in the off season. So, like, obviously losing Juan Soto crushed this offense, and they're trying to, you know, have some sort of semblance of what they were last year. But again, if we're just talking in terms of AL, I think they're up there.
Yeah, they are. Absolutely. They're the team to beat in the American League. It's very simple. And I think that it's going to be really fun to see how this lineup does. Some of it could end up being great, and some of it could end up being
who is going to hit leadoff for them?
Yeah, it's a good question. All right. Now, some thought that Goldschmidt would head back to his first home, Arizona. That didn't work out. And once Christian Walker left, the Diamondbacks needed a first baseman. They traded with my little plucky Cleveland Guardians to bring in Josh Naylor, who's in his walk year. They gave up a right-handed reliever in Slade Ciccone and also a Comp B pick. While Cleveland fans were wallowing in their sorrows, minutes later, they re-signed Carlos Santana, bringing him back for a third time. He's soon to be 39. So the guards who made the ALCS have now traded away the right side of their infield over the last 2 weeks. Should their fans be pissed?
I think their fans just kind of expect stuff like this, so I don't know if they should be pissed. I really like Carlos Santana, so I think that's kind of where my head's at. Like, I
Mhm.
know Josh Naylor has put together some incredible moments for the Cleveland Guardians, and I'm sure you're wishing him well because he's just been kind of like a
Hell
spark
yes.
plug, and he's been one of the heartbeats of the team. So you're
Oh,
wishing him well. All this, the Jimenez deal, you've kind of convinced me that you saw that coming, and it's probably, I don't know if it's gonna be a good thing for them, but his contract started to go
mhm.
up, and he's a defensive first guy, and usually as you get older, the defense starts to go down. So those things are kind of moving in opposite directions. So maybe we'll look back and say, man, that was a really heady, smart move by the Guardians to do that. So I don't think they should be pissed, and mainly that's because I got to see Carlos Santana up close and personal last year. And I understand like what he brings to the team. Obviously, he's been in Cleveland before, but just last year, I mean, he is another hitting coach. He's a guy that works incredibly hard. Will make sure that everyone's like getting their routine done. That's on both sides of the ball as well. Remember, he's won a Gold Glove at age 39, his first ever Gold Glove. I saw him put the work in, Chris. Like he was there doing everything that you'd expect, a young guy just trying to make it do. This is Carlos Santana at age 39 doing it. So I think he's going to be a welcome addition to the clubhouse. I think putting him next to, like, talking to Manzardo, talking to Yakensi Noel, like, I think it's really going to help that clubhouse out. So should they be mad? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think for those reasons, the Jimenez contract starting to go up. Naylor was going to be a free agent at the end of this year. So basically, they got something back for Naylor and signed a guy that's comparable to him. So I wouldn't be that mad if I was a Guardians fan.
Cleveland fans will do anything they can to yell at the Dolan ownership, and I get it.
Sure.
I wish we spent like Uncle Stevie. Hell, I wish we spent like Jim Crane. We don't do that. We don't get anywhere close to that. We've handed out 2 nine-figure deals in our history. I thought one day we were trading Jose Ramirez. The next day I wake up, he signs for below market value. And then they end up trading the other guy, and Andres Jimenez, who has a $100 million contract. So you know this kind of when you are a Cleveland Guardians fan. But for people who are like, well, we don't spend any money. Naylor, you spent the same money. Like he and Santana are gonna
Plouffe.
get paid. Now, if you want to say that Carlos Santana is a dozen years older than Josh Naylor, and what the hell are we doing? I'll listen to that conversation. But you know who had a higher WAR last year? And it's mainly because of the defense. Carlos Santana. Josh Naylor just had his first 30 homer season. I think he gets pull happy. I wish he would keep using the left side of the field and just bang doubles to left center. Like that's when he is at his best. But he gave some shitty at bats in the postseason in his few years there. And he and Jimenez never walk. They just don't walk. Now Santana's on base percentage, as we talked about recently, has gone down, but he still knows how to work a count. And
Yes.
maybe that can rub off on
Very good
some
at
of their young
bats.
guys. I'm hoping it does. I love Josh Naylor and everything that he was about, but he was not going to re-sign with this team. He just wasn't. So they decided to get a couple of lottery tickets, one on an arm that maybe will help them out this year at some point, and one on a Comp B pick where they now have 4 of the top 72 picks in the draft. So they're getting something for Josh Naylor, and they're getting a guy who's might not have the pop that Josh Naylor has, but he's better in other areas and actually had a higher WAR than Josh Naylor.
And I think he could have the same effect in the clubhouse as Naylor. I know that,
I agree with that.
again, Naylor, the emotional guy. Santana's not going to be that for you. He's not going to be like your emotional
No.
leader, but he's going to be a leader in a different way.
Yeah, different way. So I,
When
I'm
you really
okay with it.
when you really break it down, you're like, okay, you're getting, let's just say Naylor and Santana are even. It's an even trade. Money is the same. Let's
Mhm.
just say their WAR ends up being the same. But then you get Ciccone and a pick. That's kind of like, makes a lot of sense for the Guardians.
It does. The way they do business.
Yeah.
And people are like, well, how do you know that Josh Naylor wasn't going to sign? Because I know it. Because I know
Yeah.
you have to follow. You can't just look at every move in a vacuum. If it's anything we've learned about Major League Baseball, for Texas Ranger fans who are like, why did we just trade Nathaniel Lowe for a reliever that had an ERA of like 4.5? Why did we do that again? Well, shit, because Jock Peterson is ready to put his name on a piece of paper. That's
Yeah.
why. don't think of moves in the baseball world anymore as singular moves. It's what does this mean right now?
Oh
But
yeah.
in 8 minutes, here's what it could mean for our
Our
franchise.
our next topic is very much one of those things for me.
Okay. Real quickly, Arizona's got a new first baseman. Cleveland's got one. The Yankees have one. Houston's got one. Washington has now got one.
Mm-hmm.
Where's Pete Alonso ending up?
Oh, it really seems like it's shaping up for him to go back to the Mets, doesn't it?
And it ain't going to be that deal that was reportedly offered to him.
I'm interested to see what happens with that because I don't think it'll be too far off.
Really?
It'd be very hard. I feel like if you're Pete Alonso to like walk back and have your hands down, like I'll take pennies on the dollar. I think
No,
he'll
but
still play. I think he'll still play a little hardball and get back to. What was the number that was offered?
I thought it was like 6 for 158 or something like that.
And what do you think he's going to get now? 4 for 120?
It's not going to be whatever that original deal is.
Yeah.
And Trevor, you have to have leverage as these
Yeah.
seats fill up. I had him in our free agency draft going to Seattle, which I still think would make sense, but they're not going to spend the money there. So who else needs a power hitting first baseman right now that hasn't already filled the chair? Is there one obvious spot that I'm forgetting?
The one that's going to pay for anything?
That's what I'm saying. No.
No. I
I
mean,
mean,
we talk about moves in a flurry. Like the Red Sox could be a location, but that will require
trading
multiple
Tristan
moves.
Casas then. Why in the world would you do that?
Or putting him at DH and moving somebody else.
I just
You could put Pete at DH and move what Yoshida or you could make moves.
I guess.
I don't think that's like a far off. That's not like outlandish to me that you mentioned they need a right-handed bat. He kind of fits the vibe.
I think Pete goes back to New York on a 3-year deal. I think it's like 3 for maybe 100.
Yeah, what other team is out there that Twins
And
could
there's
always
still
use some
some
thought,
first
but it ain't gonna happen.
there's still some like I'm not going to it's disrespectful to say bottom of the barrel. That's not fair. But guys who are not of Christian Walker, Josh Naylor, Nathaniel Lowe level even right now. It's guys who have been good all-star players but aren't right now. A Josh Bell and Anthony Rizzo, those guys are available.
I think I just talked myself into the Red Sox getting him and moving some things
Getting
around.
Alonso?
Yeah.
I think you're just doing that for
If you
fun.
could do a 3-year deal, I think it makes sense.
Let us know in the comments section where
These
you
moves
think
are
he ends
not in a
up.
vacuum, Chris Rose.
I know they're not. And I don't know where the hell I can figure out where to put him. I just can't. All right, Philly. They signed your guy, Max Kepler, to a 1-year, $10 million deal. Sounds like he's going to play left field, which he's never done at the major league level. And then Jesus Luzardo comes over from Miami for a pair of prospects, including the Phillies' number 4 prospect, a shortstop named Starlin Caba. Cubs were reportedly sniffing around on Luzardo as well before he got shipped to Philly. Is this a bigger pickup for Philadelphia or a bigger whiff by the Cubs?
I like to go with bigger pickup by Philly. I'm interested to see what happens with them. They were looking for a fifth like spot in the rotation type of guy. I think Luzardo has the potential to be more than that, which is nice for them. And again, I mentioned before the question was asked, I think this is a move that maybe sets some other wheels in motion. They're trying to get rid of Taijuan Walker's contract to open up a little bit of money because right now they're at the one of the top thresholds in the competitive balance tax. So they're trying to get rid of Walker. I think this move makes it a little bit more pressing. Does this also mean that they're going to try to get rid of Bohm to free up some money? Are they still trying to sign Alex Bregman? I think that this is something I came to earlier today. Dave Dombrowski has been in this situation before. This team is eerily similar to the Detroit Tigers, and they never won the whole thing. I think Dave Dombrowski's looking at this roster saying, shoot, we've had a pretty dang good run here, still have come up empty. I think there's still some big moves left to be had because that's what he does. I could 100% see them still bringing in Alex Bregman, and that would require a few of these moves. And this move, bringing Luzardo in, kind of, in my mind, starts the kindling that lights the fire in those moves. So I think this is going to end up being a much bigger hit for the Phillies. If they get the velo back up, it's going to help them in their rotation, which is already excellent as is. But it also, I think, like I said, is going to start some auxiliary moves.
Jesus Luzardo had a great 2023 season. Over 200 strikeouts, 180 innings pitched. Like he was a dude. He was awesome. And his his peripherals were great, all that, and then it all came crashing down last year. But only one time in his career has he made more than 18 starts. Only one time in his career has he pitched more than 101 innings in a season. But I think that Philadelphia can run that risk. I don't think the Cubs could have, because when they moved off of the Bellinger deal, I think they're playing for a bigger piece, right? Whether that's Luis Castillo or somewhere else. I want a guy who's more of a sure thing than Jesus Luzardo. So I'm perfectly fine with the Cubs not working out a deal for him, going a different direction, and I'm perfectly fine with Philadelphia making this move. Now, Dave Dombrowski last week, I don't know if you saw his Zoom. He came out and said we're basically done in free agency at the position player now. He was lying through his teeth.
Yes, dude.
He was lying through his teeth. In fact, before all these moves happened, that was going to be a topic on this show because I wanted to play it for you. But you and I both know that ain't true.
No. And again, I'm telling you, he's thinking back to his Tigers teams.
I think that's a good call on
Also, Luzardo,
Mhm.
another lefty with the Cubs rotation. I don't love it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're right with Justin Steele and Coffee Mike out there. That's what they call Shota, I guess.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm kind of stuck with the Phillies because like you keep saying they want to trade and they want to trade. I don't think people want Alec Boehm.
I think they do. It
I
depends
don't.
on what they're asking for.
I think that people don't know what he is. Like he had a pretty decent season, but then he got benched late, right? Didn't he get benched at some point? Was that in the playoffs or what am I
Yes, he still put up a 3-WAR year last year. Like
right?
there's a lot to like. I mean, you can look at a 2-week sample where they're trying to win every single game. You can't really draw conclusions from that. It's talking about a 162. I mean, a 3-WAR player with a 779 OPS like is still handsome, and he's not a free agent until 2027. So people want him.
Yeah, I think I suppose I would trade for him now because then you have 2 years to figure out exactly what he is. Because I still don't know what he is. Feel like he's a decent major leaguer.
Are me and Alec Boehm the same guy?
Well, what are we talking about here?
I'm just saying.
Okay.
Like we're like not that dissimilar. Be better than me, dude. Like don't keep going like this. Okay.
I don't know. Is he friends with any quarterbacks?
I don't know, man.
We'll have to check on that. All right. Did we get everything in? Holy smokes, were there a ton of moves?
Dude.
That is a lot.
I know you had a big big night last night, big day,
Yeah.
and then you had to wake up early and get all these questions together.
Oh yeah, this is what we do, man. I came right home, started working on my baseball stuff. That's how
I had
we
to take
go.
the bell off my puppy last night. We had a little bell on him, but he was moving around too much. I was like, get over here.
Wait a second. Is it a him or a her?
Her, sorry.
Yeah.
Her. It's an it. It's a dog.
It's not an it. It's a he or she. It's not an it. No. I'm not going to let you do that.
It's a her.
Adorable, by the way.
She's
Palmer.
great. She met the Stafford's dog yesterday. We
well, you're allowed to have the dogs near each other. Sometimes that.
Well, I know that's a weird thing, but Stafford's dog's always like just at home. She's not like a high risk dog. They say get her around dogs that aren't high risk.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
So
got it. All right, good. So we are not planning on doing a show the rest of the week unless something major happens, which my guess is it ain't going to happen on Christmas Day. But if there's something big, we're going to be here for you. And watch, there will be 80 more signings, and we'll be back at this again on Tuesday. So if we don't see everybody out there, happy holidays, whatever you celebrate. Don't care what you celebrate, what you believe. Just be with friends and family. That's the most important stuff if you can. And if you can't be with it, just remember that we love you. We're here to take care of you too. We're here to fill your baseball appetite. It's what we love. It's what we love to do. It's been a fun off season so far. Usually I have to give the GMs a little bit of a pep talk, like, hey, let's get shit going. But I think they've been on point here, right?
Except for this team.
Well, you got
I think
problems.
I might be the biggest free agent pickup they've had so far this year.
Did they extend you? Did they extend you?
Just for 1 year.
What'd they give you? 3 for $68?
Just 1 year. No.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, brother. Happy holidays. Best to Olivia.
As well. Thank you.
Theodore and Isla and Palmer. Yeah. Everybody. By the way, is Teddy Theodore? Is Teddy Theodore?
He is a Theodore, yeah.
Okay, cool. I like that. He's a cool Theodore.
Hey, if we go to the same spot we went to before for New Year's, you in?
You know, we might drop by on the way back. My oldest brother's going to be in town, staying with us.
I don't know what we're doing yet. I'll let you know, though.
Yeah, please do. I'd love to have you meet him. He's one of a kind. Okay. You'll be like, you're an interesting one. He's the feisty Rose, but he's very funny. He's significantly older than me. Okay. Good dude, though. Fun. And a tremendous athlete. I want to get this out before we go. Bob Rose. Marathon runner. Lived in New York City for 40 years. Ran 10 New York City marathons, including clocking in at 2:59:43. 2:59.
Whoa. Took all the genes, huh?
You ain't kidding, huh? Holy smokes. That was impressive.
Just kidding. I love you.
It's all right. Listen, man, I suck at everything. All right, everybody have an amazing, amazing holiday season. For our one-of-a-kind producer, Dan Rourke, and his buddy Eloy Jimenez, and the uber-talented Trevor Plouffe, I am Chris Rose. We will see you soon here on Baseball Today.